you're watching Vnews Bulletin. I'm Bong from Hanoi, and now the headlines as usual.
Prime Minister elaborates on social distancing, calls for welfare guarantee. Hanoi residents ready for city lockdown. A different Hanoi during Covid-19 through sketches.
Prime Minister Wilson Phúc signed a decision on April the 1st, officially declaring a nationwide Covid-19 epidemic.
The decision stated that the acute respiratory disease caused by the novel coronavirus SARS-CoV-2 or Covid-19 was first found in the country on January 23rd. Covid-19 has been classified as a Group A infectious disease, which poses the risk of becoming a global pandemic through transmission from person to person, the decision noted. It stipulates specific solutions and measures to cope with the pandemic under the law on infectious diseases, including setting up a steering committee for prevention, introducing health quarantining, monitoring affected areas, mobilizing resources within society to fight the epidemic, promoting international cooperation, and setting up emergency hospitals where required. The decision comes into effect on April 1st.
The Vietnamese government has made efforts to ensure that social welfare for the public is maintained, especially for the poor and the unemployed, amid the challenges posed by COVID-19, Prime Minister Wilson Phúc said.
At an online monthly government meeting on April 1st, the Prime Minister said the government would continue to discuss and issue solutions to resolve difficulties facing business, boost public investment, ensure public security and order, and in particular guarantee social welfare. Touching on social distancing measures contained in his Directive No. 16, the Prime Minister said these are aimed at protecting public health and include members of the public consciously keeping a safe distance apart from each other. Prime Minister Phúc also lauded local medical staff for successfully treating infected patients. The Vietnam Fatherland Fund has initially raised over 600 million Vietnam dong, $26 million to fund anti-epidemic efforts. The Army and public security forces and all localities have strictly followed party and state guidelines on epidemic prevention and control. The Prime Minister asked cabinet members to discuss and publicize support packages available for workers to ensure social welfare. Vietnam has already announced financial and monetary packages to support production and lives, he explained, which have been introduced by banking, finance, industry, trade, and agricultural sectors. Prime Minister Phúc called for the reorganization of domestic production and business, reform of the working methods, the application of scientific technological advances to cope with the problems and overcome the pandemic.
An intersectoral teleconference between senior officials of Asean and the U.S. to boost bilateral cooperation and collaboration in coping with COVID-19 and community health challenges took place on April the 1st.
At the event, the two sides shared updated information on the current situation and measures they are taking to control and prevent COVID-19 spread. The two sides pledged to strengthen cooperation and effective response to COVID-19, protect people's safety and health. ASEAN and the U.S. agreed to actively share information, experience, provide technical assistance, exchange scientific studies in COVID-19 prevention, control and treatment, and continue to maintain exchanges and close collaboration between relevant agencies at high and working levels in the future. They also agreed to continue to implement measures to ensure safety of citizens of their respective states affected by the disease. The two sides agreed to actively work with each other to boost measures to minimize the pandemic socio-economic impacts.
Now we come to the latest news on the acute respiratory disease caused by SARS-CoV-2 virus, COVID-19.
Two men found to have contracted the novel coronavirus SARS-CoV-2 after a trip to Malaysia have recovered, the General Hospital of the Southern Central Province of Ninh Thuận announced on April 1st morning. One of them is case 61, 32 years old, who was hospitalized on March 15 and confirmed to be positive for the novel coronavirus on March 16. The other is a 36-year-old person who was sent to the hospital on March 17 and confirmed as case 67 on the next day. Both of them reside in Van Lam 3 hamlet of Phước Nam commune, Ninh Thuận, Thuận Nam district. The Ministry of Health reported 6 more COVID-19 cases in Vietnam by 7:30 p.m. on April 1st, raising the country's total to 218. They included 2 employees of the Trường Sinh Company Limited, which provides services for the Hanoi-based Bạch Mai Hospital, a patient who used to visit Bạch Mai Hospital for medical checkup, and 3 returning Vietnam from overseas. All the 6 latest cases are from Hanoi. Earlier in the morning, 5 cases were reported. To date, 63 patients have fully recovered.
International media continue to hail the success that Vietnam has made so far in containing the spread of the SARS-CoV-2 despite limited resources compared to many countries.
Deutsche Welle of Germany and L'Obs Weekly of France said Vietnam's success can be attributed to the 4 measures of quarantine, surveillance, declaring war on the epidemic, and following the rules. L'Obs Weekly said the Vietnamese Health Ministry regularly sent messages to mobile phone subscribers giving information on the epidemic developments and advice on hygiene practice. The state media have been mobilized for communication work, and the artists also join in, with one outstanding example being the Gen Covid, a song meant to increase awareness of preventing the spread of COVID-19, which has become a global hit. Singapore's CSIS.org said Vietnam has emerged as global models for early action and aggressive containment of COVID-19. Meanwhile, World Economic Forum said Vietnam shows it can contain COVID-19 with limited resources, and the country has seemingly managed to get the outbreak under control.
The Ministry of Transport has banned all passenger flights to Vietnam from April the 1st to 15th in an effort to stop the spread of the novel coronavirus.
Domestic flights will also be severely reduced, with only 2 flights a day to connect the capital city of Hanoi and the southern economic hub of Ho Chi Minh City, as well as only 1 flight per day from Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City to the central city of Da Nang. Cargo flights, diplomatic missions, foreign officials, experts, business managers are among the few exceptions to the ban. Travel within the country will also be limited, as all inter-province buses, tour boats, and taxis have been temporarily suspended. Only 1 north-south train will run per day, with all local trains ordered to halt operations.
There will be no shortage of goods for the capital city as Hanoi starts prepping for a 2-week nationwide isolation order to stop the spread of COVID-19 epidemic.
The city's supply of goods is working normally, delivering to 26 shopping centers, 142 supermarkets, and thousands of stores across the city. They have also been following rigorous sanitary protocols and regularly inspected to ensure food safety and to combat the spread of the virus. Under the isolation order, the city's supermarkets and traditional markets will remain open. Mobile stores and makeshift supply centers are also considered as additional options. According to Hanoi Department of Industry and Trade, the city increased reserves by 300 to 500% over normal demand. The municipal department will spend 140 trillion Vietnam dong to double the volume of goods for reserves in the second quarter of this year.
On a recent conference to discuss COVID-19 prevention with 5 centrally run cities, Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc called them all, especially Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, to be ready for any circumstances, including citywide lockdowns. That's why most of the residents in Hanoi are ready to follow the city's direction to overcome the pandemic.
Business operations have halted and children are staying at home instead of going to school. Ha Thị Lu and her family from Ninh Bình province have chosen to stay in Hanoi to limit travel as warned.
I strongly support limiting travel. I rarely go out except to buy fresh food such as vegetables and meat.
At traditional markets, food supplies, especially fresh food, are available, making people feel secure. As such, they said they are not worried that the city is locked down.
As far as I know, the government has ensured food supplies for all citizens. I feel secure about that. I haven't been back to my hometown for over a month. I want to protect my family members from the disease. Food is still being transported into the city to ensure supplies. As such, I don't stock too much, and my customers only buy enough food for 2 to 3 days.
Since March 27th, all unnecessary services in Hanoi have been closed, making the city eerily quiet. If the city is locked down, people will be willing to adapt to the situation.
Vietnam's economy is expected to grow by 4.9% this year, about 1.6 percentage points lower than the previous projection, according to the latest World Bank report.
Despite favorable prospects for the Vietnamese economy in the medium term, the country's GDP growth will be affected negatively by the global Covid-19 pandemic in its latest report titled East Asia and Pacific in the Time of COVID-19. In the short term, the COVID-19 outbreak could create stronger adverse impacts on Vietnam's economy, especially manufacturing and tourism sectors, which are highly dependent on the global economy, the report noted. Vietnam recorded a GDP growth of 7% in 2019, up from the annualized target of 6.6 to 6.8%, and has set a target of a GDP growth of around 6.8% this year, according to Vietnam's General Statistics Office.
Vietnam will carry out a survey of enterprises starting from April the 1st to collect basic data for management, socio-economic policy formulation, and enterprise development.
Those to be surveyed include enterprises established and regulated under enterprise law, cooperatives and people's credit funds, and enterprises established and regulated under specific laws on insurance, securities, and so on. Data will be collected from April 1st to May 30th, 2020 by the General Statistics Office. The office said the survey applies to all enterprises, cooperatives, and entities subordinate to enterprises operating in Vietnam, as well as across all economic sectors. The data to be collected will include name and contact details, type of enterprise, economic sector, employee income, business performance, and application of technology, among others. The survey results will be published in a white paper in 2021.
And that's wrap up our news bulletin. Thanks for watching and see you next time.